Hello from Croatia. There is a spot in our healing and awakening that is, we can get to it, but then it's really hard to get past it. And that spot is, what do you do when you know what your negative belief is, what your core limiting belief is? What do you know? What do you do when you're clear about what that belief is? You're clear about the patterns and the coping strategies that you've developed to deal with that limitation, that idea that you can't have that thing or be that thing, or you don't deserve to go forward because then you'd be a bad person. And then the guilt with being successful in any way is overwhelming, so you sabotage yourself left and right, and it feels like it's a fear of failure. That's a fear that the thing isn't going to come true. And then once it's proven that it doesn't come true, you have to give up hope altogether. And it's just, what do you do when you finally land in that spot of, oh yeah, this is what's holding me back? And you're like, now what? Right? Okay, great, perfect. Now I know everything. Voila. But it's not that easy, right? The piece that keeps us from getting into the next thing is that usually what happens is we try to jump into, this is what I did for a long time, jump into positive focus from there, or just getting even more depressed. So it's easier to get even more depressed. That's usually the default, like, oh, well, fuck it, all right? And then you just keep working yourself back up to what was the belief? Oh yeah, I got it. And then you're back, to square one, like, well, now what? Or you mindset yourself into a place of envisioning your future. And then that feels really good because you're like, yes, this is what it would feel like to have the thing I want. And you download the feeling signature of that. And that's great. And that's what we do. And that's a very important part of moving past that block and transforming the way you think completely on the inside. That's really important. But hey, there's a spot where you can't even get to that naturally, right? Because you just rebound back. And this is what became really clear for me personally and in my work. One of the missing pieces is, ready? Get a paper and pen and write this down, because you're going to need this. The higher self is always working on our side. So that's number one. And we have to we have to ground ourselves into this knowing and remembering that. Write it down. Our higher self is always on our side. Everything that we experience, it's our own psyche. It's our own sense of infinite potential and wisdom working always. This doesn't shut off. Okay, so that's number one. So that's a hard pill to swallow. I know, but just write it down and look at it as much as you can. If you can't get past the block of pain, right? You get to that spot where you're like, I know what my belief is, but I still feel so bad in my body, and there's no way I can believe that I am actually able to do that thing, or it's impossible to have that love. I have to be unlovable. It has to be true. Or I have to be somehow a failure in my system, because evidence is stacked up on that side, right? So you're only being logical by saying, yeah, it's going to happen again. So the thing to land on is, as a question, what if your higher self is actually inviting your psyche, your mind, your being, your effort, your intention, and that awareness, that consciousness, that we can love and accept ourselves even with the limitation? What if your higher self is actually inviting your intention, that consciousness, that we can love and accept ourselves even with the limitation? If you really sit with this, you're going to have some firecracker moments, in your system, because that was what was missing, right? At the moment of trauma, it was a breach of love. It was a severance of connection, and it was a shock to your nervous system, right? And it was scary as hell, right? Trauma, that's what it is. And then we download that into our system. In that moment, we had to join the forces and join the perspective of the one who rejected us. in order to stay on the tribe, in order to stay connected and be safe in that environment. You know, a parent just being too busy to have time for you and constantly like walking by you and not noticing your pain and not having time, right? This could be actually just regular stuff that all of us go through, right? And so we have to join forces with that perspective. This came out in session the other day. It was amazing. We were realizing this. And when we join forces with that other perspective, it's a habit, right? Because that lasted like how many years, right? So here's the thing. That moment of trauma is the thing that we're trying to undo, that one moment. Okay? We think it's a lifetime full of mistakes and full of bad things that happened. No. Make it super simple. It's a moment in your consciousness when you had to say, screw me, I'm joining that team that also says, I don't get attention. Okay? This was this is a downloaded program that gets into the nervous system, that gets practiced over and over, so it doesn't feel safe to have ourself. So we need to make it safe to have ourself. This is the remedy. And how do we make it safe? Sounds so easy, right? It's just safe to have myself. How do we make it safe to have ourself? You're doing your emotional attunement and your Vipassana practices, and you're sitting and you're having awareness for how you are, and you're letting yourself be as you are, making that a commitment to your well-being, a commitment to yourself. That's part one, doing that every day. And then part two is, even in my not being able to do the things I want, even though these things don't show up for me, even though it feels like I can't, I am going to stay committed to my well-being. I am going to stay committed to myself, that I care about myself. And you have this moment, and it's just like nobody, no circumstance can change that. Nothing can change that. You can always say, okay, fuck it, shit's happening, and I care about myself. Then you get on your side, getting on our side. So can you matter? And I break it down into one little sentence. I matter no matter what. I'm going to say this chant, and you can join me if you want. I matter no matter what. 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 I matter no